Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the newest MCU movie. It's their second of 4 of the year, and that's not even counting the TV shows. It stars Simu Lee as the title character and co-stars Awkwafina as Katie. And this film tells the origin story, but also present-day story of Shang-Chi and everything in the Legend of the Ten Rings, just like the title suggests. And going into this movie, I was excited. I reacted to the trailer whenever that first came out, and I was like, okay, the action looks really good. And then when the first reviews came out, people loved it, so my hype just went up and up and up, and I'm so happy to say I loved this movie. This movie definitely had a challenge, and that big challenge is it had to tell the origin story of the Ten Rings and Shang-Chi and everything, but it also was telling this present day story of everything that was happening. And for me, the balance was amazing, and Simu Lee is one of my favorite people on earth now, because not only is he hilarious in this, but any interview, any post on Twitter, Instagram, everything, they're just so funny, and I just love the guy. But he was perfectly cast here, and I'm so glad he tweeted at Marvel when they announced this movie, and I think the addition of putting him in the MCU was just a perfect call. And Awkwafina is just hilarious. Now, I love her. I don't know how many of her movies I've seen. I sadly haven't seen The Farewell yet. I do need to watch that one, but she is awesome here. A lot of people are comparing her to Darcy from Thor, and I like Darcy. Obviously, she was in WandaVision and everything, but I don't exactly see the comparison, and I really love Awkwafina here because she helped with the balance of the film. But that's something I really enjoyed about the movie, was just the balance, and I'll go into it a little bit later, but something I really loved is just how the director was able to balance the comedy and the excitement of the action sequences. But what's at the core of this film is this family story and this family struggle, and don't worry, I won't go into spoilers at all in this video, and I think the way it was handled was so well done, and that's what elevates it above your average superhero film. Because yes, it does have its fair share of action sequences that are CGI filled and everything, especially in the third act. Like, you come to expect that, but I feel like this movie works because there's an important story going on. There's some grief, there's, you know, like the acceptance of a lost one, everything like that. Again, I won't go into spoilers, don't worry. And I feel like the way it was handled here was so well done. And I saw this with my Oma today. Oma means grandma in Dutch, and she just goes with me to the movie so that we can go see something together, which is nice. And we've seen like Ant-Man and all this, but she wouldn't normally watch superhero movies, but when this one ended, she was like, that was amazing. I'm not just saying that, I loved that. And she really did. And her reason was because there was actually a real story with this. It wasn't just like big action spectacle sequences and all this. And again, I do enjoy when movies do that. I really love the MCU. I talk about it almost weekly. But for me, what makes an MCU movie great is when there are actually stakes and when there's like an underlying story. And that's what Shang-Chi has. That's why I love Civil War, because there's something about the battle between the two sides that I really love. And same with Winter Soldier, when, you know, Bucky's revealed and all this. There's something important going on at the center and the core of the film, and that's what Shang-Chi really succeeded at. I apologize for my little rant there, but I just really love this movie, and I really want to see this movie do well. I really want this one to kind of save Disney and everything, save Marvel, because of obviously COVID and all this. And for me, I enjoyed Black Widow. I think Black Widow is a good movie. For me, this movie was definitely better. I'm interested to see how it will compare to Eternals and No Way Home, and yes, it isn't exactly a fair comparison, but I have to say, you have to check out this movie even if you aren't normally a fan of the superhero movies or MCU movies or anything like that, if you even know what that means. Because yeah, sure, there are those exciting action sequences that I talked about, but it's the whole family story and the family struggle that really makes this movie great, and the characters feel so grounded in reality. I think that's what was so great about Awkwafina's character, is that she felt so relatable and so real. And same with Shang-Chi, like Simu Lee is amazing here. Not only is he just a great person outside of the movie, but in the film, he's amazing, especially with his facial expressions. That's something that I really notice with everybody in the film, but especially him. When he's mad, you can tell. When he's like annoyed, everything like that. And when he, when he means business, you can tell. And that's what I really loved about this movie. I think it is really great. And also, just quickly touching on this, the representation that the MCU is now going for is really working. I've seen Simu Lee post a few things about it, but I think it was just so well done in the film. I really want to check this movie out more and more and more. This is definitely a day one purchase for me when it comes out on 4K. I highly recommend seeing it on the biggest screen possible with the loudest sound system. I saw it in IMAX, so I really loved that experience. experience. Again, you have to see this movie. It is really great. It is so much more than your average superhero movie, average origin story, because at the core of the movie, it's about grief and people struggling with acceptance of a lost one. As I said before, again, not going into spoilers in the video, don't worry. And I think that the way it was done, from everything, from the director, I need to give the writer some big credit here, and obviously all the actors across the board really worked well. The action sequences were intense when they were in here. The action is really amazing. There's a scene on the bus early on which still blew my mind. In the trailer I was like, okay, that was cool, but seeing it in the theater was just something else. I know I've kind of rambled on in this review, but you have to check out this movie. It's amazing. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is an absolute blast. Simu Lee is perfectly cast here, and Awkwafina is a great addition to the MCU. The action scenes are beautiful, but the underlying story about family really ties this all together. Even if you aren't a big fan of superhero films in general, I still highly recommend checking this one out because I can almost guarantee you will enjoy it. I'm going to give Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings a 4 out of 5. There were a few things I had a problem with, and they kind of happened towards the end of the movie, and I might talk about that in some spoiler live stream, something like that. I guess I'll just have to see. I am busy the next few days, so I guess I'll just have to see. But again, I barely have any problems with the film, and I can also see it going up to a 4.5 out of 5. I'm kind of stuck between a 4 and a 4.5 out of 5. That's how good the movie is. It is great. If the trailers didn't sell you, I mean, I don't know what else will. Please go see this movie. It really deserves your support. And if you've seen it, tell me what you think of it down below. Tell me your favorite scene without spoiling anything, and make sure to stick around for those end credit scenes. They're really good. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.